Hi everyone, today I'll be giving a review on Annalise Orlick's book Storming Caesar's Palace, how Black mothers fought their own war on poverty. So the main purpose of this book was to focus on the war on poverty and the welfare system. The time period is from the 1960s to the 1970s. It mostly takes place in Las Vegas, Nevada, where a group of women that I'll talk about in a minute were able to make a lot of progressive change in the welfare system. So the main storyline is on 9 African American mothers who became activists for welfare rights, and they founded an operation called Operation Life that has since closed, but they did a lot of good for their community. So the highlighted figure that I chose from this book was Ruby Phillips Duncan, who was an African American mother. She grew up on what was called the Ivory Plantation in a small town in Louisiana. She later left Louisiana and eventually became a single mother of 6 children, and she needed to take advantage of the federal aid to dependent children funds or welfare because she was struggling to make ends meet with her jobs. She was a cleaner and she did some other odd jobs, but it wasn't enough to support her family. She described her experience with welfare as demeaning, and they did not supply her enough to support herself and her children. So that's where her own need came into play in her wanting to be an activist for change. She eventually created the Clark County Welfare Rights Group. I believe it started as a sewing group. And eventually she started the Nevada Welfare Rights Organization and Operation Life. So the motto of Operation Life, which was pretty much the main organization that was talked about in the book, is we can do it and do it better. So they wanted a lot of changes to be made with the welfare system, and they also wanted, in my opinion, it seemed like they wanted more of a comprehensive approach to tackling poverty, especially in African American communities and among single mothers. So there was a group, again, of 9 women, Ruby Duncan being one of the main players in it, Essie Henderson, Alversa Beals, and several others. And Operation Life offered a lot of different things and fought for a lot of different things. So one thing was Operation Lifeline, which was a telephone hotline that women could call to get advice and to get help when they needed financial and other support. They fought for better medical care for their children. They even ended up starting a few of their own clinics. They fought for a better food stamp system, which would help families have more healthy options at the grocery store. There were daycare programs for working mothers, work programs for mothers to help them find jobs. There's also work counseling that they offer to help coach women for interviews and get them ready to be in the workforce to make money for their own families. They fought for better housing, subsidized housing. There was counseling for mental health concerns, and there were drug and violence clinics. There were a lot more, but these were the ones that stood out to me. They opened a library, just really neat things that they did to help their communities, and a lot of it was based on, better medical care, better food, and better education. So the book is called Storming Caesar's Palace because the organization planned a protest when the state of Nevada planned to stop their welfare benefits that they needed to live on. So they organized a march that would walk through the Strip of Las Vegas, the casinos in that area, specifically the Casino Hotel Caesar's Palace. And the protest actually went on for weeks. But the Caesar's Palace protest specifically, they marched through the lobby of Caesar's Palace, stopped the gambling for several hours, and it was this huge ordeal. So their plan for protesting was demanding that they continue getting their checks. And their strategy was that they figured if they could cost the casinos money by blocking the gambling from happening during the time that they're protesting, then maybe the owners would be more behind legislation in favor of the mothers. So it was really interesting, especially I like the memoir aspect that this book had, surrounding Duncan and the other women as well. And so my main takeaways were these. So I learned more just in general about the historical background of welfare and the issues faced by Black mothers during the 1950s and onward throughout history. It also helped me to understand better where a lot of the welfare system issues started, and then it gave me a better glimpse into the issues with poverty that are still not alleviated today, specifically because of the approaches that these women took. Like I said, they fought for education, they fought for better medical care, better supplemental income for groceries to get better, more healthy foods for their children. So these are all things that I thought were really important and really meaningful tactics that they took and approaches, the approach that they took. And that's it. Bye.